Hey 7th graders, today's lesson is 2.6 natural selection, and if you are watching this video, you guys are my blue group. Blue group. If you guys are unsure whether or not you're the blue group, I'll go ahead and show you guys where to check. Let's go ahead and go on to slide 2 to do that. Okay, so at the top of slide 2, you guys will see this link that you can right click and open up, and it will take you directly into Amplify. And if you are in fact the blue group, this should be the screen you guys see when you pull this link up, and it obviously will say blue group. If you are seeing something other than that, a different color, maybe purple or green, you are obviously in the wrong group. So with that being said, go back to slide 2, find the correct video to watch, green group or purple group, and then go ahead and restart, go in there. And then finally, make sure you guys circle which group you're in so it makes it a little bit easier for me to grade. So for you guys in the blue group, you guys will only be completing slides 27 through 36 today. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and skip clear down to slide 27. You guys will notice we're skipping all the green group, all the purple group, and voila. Right here we have, it's actually 28 through 37. So I'll go ahead and fix that right now. 28 through 37. I added a slide in there as I was working now that I remember. All right, 28 through 37. All right, so your warm-up for today are list some examples of environmental conditions that could determine which traits are adaptive. So remember that an environment isn't just the area around you, it's also the other organisms in that environment. So we looked at maybe an environment involving a predator or not involving a predator. So think about all the different variables that we could find in an environment, whether it's living or non-living, that could influence a trait to be adaptive over non-adaptive. Okay, so for example, temperature is an environmental condition that would affect which traits are adaptive. So if you're looking at hot temperature, maybe being a cold-blooded animal would be an adaptive trait, or if it's a cold environment, maybe having thick fur or lots of blubber, whatever the case may be. Okay, so list as many as you guys can. You guys should be able to fill up this little page right here. Okay, moving on to the rest of your warm-up, select the statement below that describes how environmental conditions affect an individual's likelihood of survival and reproduction. So talk about how environment can affect whether or not an organism is going to survive and be able to reproduce. Okay, there's only one answer there, so just make sure you're using your draw tool to circle one, and then explain why you chose the answer you did. Okay. Moving on to activity 2 for you guys today, you have this article called Otters and the Bottleneck Effect. Looks a little something like this. Okay, so basically, just to sum it up for you guys, but you'll need to read a little bit more in detail, is the bottleneck effect. You guys think of putting a bunch of different colored beads in a bottle, and the different colors kind of maybe represent traits in a population. If you guys were to take 3 shakes of that bottle, and that bottle has a narrow neck, okay, the whole bottle is not going to spill out, okay? Only a couple beads are going to spill out in those 3 shakes, okay? That would represent what's left of a population is the amount of beads that spilled out. So it may not be representative of what was all in the bottle. So if we were talking about otters, for instance, a good chunk of otters died off, and with that, they lost a good chunk of genetic variation. So a lot of traits that were with these otters who died when they had a big environmental change, we lost those genetic traits, and maybe there were some adaptive traits, there's maybe some non-adaptive traits, whatever, it's no longer part of the otter population. So read that article, find out what happened with the otters specifically, read a little bit more about the bottleneck effect, and then answer these questions. What trait do otters have that is adaptive to their ocean environment? How did the otter's environment change from the years 1741 to 1911? So there was a big environmental change that basically caused these otters to die off. Why did this change cause a bottleneck effect in the otter population? And do you think the population will be able to restore its former distribution? Meaning that if we look back to the otter population prior to 1741 or before 1741, do you think it'll ever look like that population of otters ever again? Explain why or why not. Okay, moving on to your final activity, which is a simulation. Obviously, here is your link right here. So right click that and open that link. It will take you into the sim. which mine is still loading, so I hope it loads. It's been loading this whole time. Okay, so let's read your instructions here. So creating a bottleneck effect in an australope population in the sim. So goal, in fewer than 30 generations, change the starting australope population into a population of at least 70 individuals with low variation in color traits. So again, if we're looking at how many different colors there are, we're going to look at low variation, meaning there's only 1 or 2 colors maybe. Okay, do this without adding a predator. So you guys can't just change the environment color and then just look at the color of australopes that would match that. You have to figure out a way to do that without incorporating a predator and looking at camouflage. Okay, so decide on a strategy to reduce the variation in the australope population. Open the natural selection simulation and open the mode color change mission. So hopefully this is almost loaded. Remember that in the upper left hand corner in the simulation there's these 3 horizontal bars. You'll click there to find your mode, and we're going to go to color change mission. Okay, so notice that in this mission you guys have some different things you can change. You can change the temperature, so maybe that might be something you guys could look at to change the variation of color, maybe not. Okay, you could look at rainfall or surface color. Okay, notice that there is no carnathons there, so you won't have any predators. You guys can look at looking at thorn palms, or you guys can look at australopes here. Okay, all right. So you're decide on a strategy to reduce the variation of the australope population. Open your color change mission. Try out your strategy by making any changes in either the build or the run. Use the histograms and analyze, or the traits histogram window and run to see if your strategy was successful. So again, when you guys look at this, you guys should be able to see kind of what your histogram starts out as. So if we're looking at color, we have a lot of variation there. So when you guys are done with this, you should be able to click analyze and be able to just see 1 or 2 color variations here if you've successfully completed that. Okay? So again, you guys should see a change. If not, you guys need to go back and figure out what will change it. Tips, you can modify abiotic factors. Remember, abiotic means non-living, so things like the environment, the temperature, stuff like that. Rainfall, background color. You can modify abiotic factors and run at any time by pressing the abiotic factors icon in the lower right-hand corner. So even if you guys are running this, you guys can still change abiotic factors right here. Okay, so if it doesn't seem to be changing for you guys, go ahead and mess with some of those. Okay, you do not make any changes to the starting australope population. So that means that you guys cannot cheat. No one wants a cheater. Okay, you guys cannot cheat and go right to australopes and be like, look, low color variation, done. Okay, because you did nothing to encourage that of them and just change it from the start. So you cannot do that. And then finally, return to build and press rebuild to reset the sim to default settings. So as you guys need to go back and maybe try some other things, make sure you're resetting it so you guys don't have your old settings that you tweaked messing you up here. Okay, answer these questions. Why did this change cause a bottleneck effect in the otter population? Oh shoot, that is for... Okay, let me delete that. Sorry, I got all things deleted or messed up here. All right, so then you guys will insert a picture of your histogram. So go to the color traits histogram in the sim for your final australope population showing 4 or fewer color traits. So you should only have 4 different color variations at the very least. You guys could even get it down to less than that if you wanted to. And then copy and paste it here. Remember, for your screenshot, if you're using a Chromebook, you guys can hold down the Control-Shift button, and then you guys press the little key above the number 6 that has a rectangle and 2 vertical lines to the right of it. You guys will click and drag to surround your histogram. Then you guys will hit capture. It will automatically copy for you, and then you guys can just come into this assignment and hit Control-V to paste. If you guys are using something other than a Chromebook, you guys can use your snipping tool. So search for your snipping tool, hit new, click and drag, copy Control-C, and paste it right here, Control-V, and then answer these questions. How did you change the distribution of color traits? So what did you do? Okay. Why do you think your strategy works? So why did it work? Okay. And then finally, complete your wrap-up. Do you have any questions, yes or no? If yes, type them below. And then finally, 4, 3, 2, 1, how do you think you did on this assignment? You are all done. Don't forget to hand it in, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.